En dan begin ik te praten. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome. This webinar is initiated by us, our HighTech NL community. Well, great to see, again, so many people here today. We've received very positive feedback of our previous two Holland Semiconductors Topic Special webinars. So we're very proud to host the third one today. Of course, it means we shall continue organizing these meetings on a regular basis. The Topic Special platform is organized to look into and discuss topics that affect all of us. How do we deal with this development? What are the challenges? Where are the opportunities for the semicon industry? Well, like we mentioned before, we feel responsible to create and facilitate a platform like this towards the Dutch semiconductor business. So thanks again for joining us here today at the follow-up event, where we will take next steps towards an open-minded and safe environment where we can all talk about our concerns, experience, and topics we think about at night while during our spare time. But first, please let me introduce myself shortly. I'm Tom van der Dussen, project manager at Holland Semiconductors, the semiconductor cluster at our community HighTech NL. Well, I'm very happy to work here for this great community and to be part of the team. Together with my colleagues and all of you, I like to play a valuable role to bond our members between each other, but also towards the international markets and our sister organizations like in France, Germany, and Italy. Well, in case you'd like to learn more about our community or what I can do for you, please feel free to drop a question on the Remarks platform or send me a personal message or give me a call later. HighTech NL, well, we are here and available and ready for you. Well, finally, and before we give the floor to our three honored guests of the day, there are a few practical things about today's session I want to run by you. As this is a webinar with a full agenda and quite a lot of participants, do we ask you to be patient in case you have a question or remark or suggestion. So please mute your microphone and raise your digital hand if you want to add or say something. If you would like to see who are present here today, you can check via the puppet sign, so to say, at the right top of your screen. And you can use the chat to make a remark or already type any question or suggestion, which we can pick up later. Well, today's topic is business development within the high-tech sector. Well, you've invested a lot of your own time and money into the development of a great working product. You are convinced this will be the next big thing, but how do you kickstart your business? Which pitfalls do you need to avoid? How do you bring your wonderful products and solutions to the right markets? Are there any willing to pay customers? That kind of questions. Well, of course, we cannot cover all possible questions and suggestions in the next 45 minutes. But hey, let's listen to these three experienced businessmen who we're about to meet. They all have a proven track record, so I'm sure we will learn at least one or two important things of them. Well, our three guests of the day are Mr. Rick Scholte. Rick is a true entrepreneur and founded his company Sorama in 2009 during his study at the Technical University of Eindhoven. His company Sorama They offer unique products and solutions focused on visualizing sound and vibrations. Well, this of course sounds like true high-tech, which it also really is. And next to that, in 2017, 4 years ago, Rick won the title of Dutch Engineer of the Year. So we can clearly state he has great ideas, and more important, he transforms them into a real solution with proven benefits. That's what we all want, of course. Well, our second guest of the day is Mr. Emiel Asselbergs. Emiel is the COO of Creosol World, based in Weert, the Netherlands. That company was founded in 2018, 3 years ago, and is a leading developer of sample preparation technology for cryo-electron microscopy. The technology originates from research performed at the Maastricht University. Well, before working at this high-tech company, he was strongly involved in the company called Venom World, which is now part of the globally active company Thermo Fisher Scientific. You also might know it as PHI or Philips Electron Optics. Well, in case you'd like to know more about microscope products, I strongly recommend you to contact Emiel. He really knows a lot about these products and the possibilities in the market. And third, last but not least, so to say, we will welcome Mr. Hans Meeske. Hans is now Managing Director at Holland Innovative, and he has a long history in innovation and development. Holland Innovative is based in Eindhoven at the HighTech campus. This company is active already for 15 years, since 2006, and they support many other companies in the field of project management, product and process development. Well, when new products need to be as reliable as possible, but how do you get there when it's your first time to transform your cool idea into a successful product? Well, Hans knows all about that, and his company will support you in getting things done. Well, as you can hear, I'm sure these three experienced men can tell us a lot about their experiences. Well, as we have quite a tight schedule and a lot of things to do, I like to bring the spotlight to Rick Scholte. Rick, are you there and available?
Oh, yes, I'm here.
Hi, Rick. Welcome. Good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon. Hi. Thank you for the introduction.
Sure.
Yeah, good afternoon to everyone here. Yeah, I'm gonna kick it off, tell you something about the Surama business. Sound imaging is sound business. Yeah, Tom already gave quite a good introduction, but here's kind of a short recap. Surama was founded in 2009, resulting from my PhD research in inverse acoustics at the Technical University of Eindhoven. And since then, 12 and a half years now, my team has grown with a couple of hiccups to about 50 people at this moment, and steadily growing larger the coming years. Yeah, what I first wanted to show you is what the core technology of Surama is and how we set up our business initially, and in the process how that evolved to three product market combinations that we are currently active in. And that's also how we have set up the organization. The organization is basically split up over those three product market combinations in cells, in teams, with yeah, a very flat organization. But before I show that, I will first get back to the reason and the vision of why I started with Surama as a company. Well, yeah, my main motivation, and still is the sound around us. If you listen around in your everyday life, sound has many functions. It can also be very nice if you go to a concert or listen to music, but in many cases it can also be quite disturbing and even unhealthy. This is a recent report of the WHO that accounted for 1.6 million healthy life years lost each year due to noise pollution in Europe, which puts it number second after air pollution as most damaging environmental impact to us humans. And that's the vision that we still have as a company, is to make the world sound right. We want to reduce noise pollution and motivate improved product sound design or dynamic design. It's of course nice to have a vision like that, but what can we offer in that case? Well, our most prominent offering there is making sound visible and localizing sound, plus classifying them, which you can see in this example. Normally, a lot of customers still have just a decibel meter to find out the sound level that the product is making, but we can literally show where sound is originating from and how it's behaving. So it's basically creating improved insights into where, how, and how much sound is being produced in an environment or from a product. Throughout the years, we had a very wide customer base all over the globe. Here you just see a snippet of it. We work a lot with academia as well, like Stanford University. Maybe earlier this year in March, we had a big research coming out about hummingbirds and how hummingbirds hum. But we also work together with the Stella solar team and activities ranging from small electronics up to the sound that superyachts make. And just to give you an impression, from any product that produces noise or vibrates, we can show you exactly how it's vibrating, where, and why. And following that application, where we promote the acoustic design cycle that you can see here, and the more R&D lab type of acoustic cameras, we have also spun off applications in smart cities with fixed installed acoustic cameras and into the industrial production and maintenance areas. And one of our major corporations at this moment is with Fluke Corporation from Seattle area and Boston Dynamics in Boston, USA. If you look at our business development timeline, starting from 2009 onwards, we were first really focused on positioning, noise control, sound design, and product dynamics. We had launched throughout the years a couple of more specialized acoustic cameras for R&D purposes, and launched a cloud service platform for all the processing and sharing of results. That's still something we do to date, where Sorama is also the brand name towards the market. But along the way, we started investing in building partnerships, for example, with Fluke that you see on top. We've been working on that partnership for about 10 years now, and since 2019, we have successfully launched products for gas leak inspection and other purposes in factories. Thirdly, and that's our third product market combination, are that you see over my shoulder, fixed installed acoustic cameras that are placed for environmental monitoring sound levels in cities, but are now also finding their way as kind of a spin-off into the industrial space, where we work together with Fluke Process Instruments. So you can see from this that the Sorama business is definitely evolving and being pushed forward from our core application, our core vision to the market. But at the same time, we are looking for additional spaces, additional markets, and new business models to place them into that market. Just to give you an example, for example, with Fluke, with the handheld gas leak detectors, we have a business model that's based on module sales, so hardware sales, and a royalty fee per sold unit. Fluke does all the marketing, sales, and services in the field, and we are their innovation and production partner. For the fixed install acoustic cameras, we are more offering an OEM offering to Fluke Process Instruments. While in our core applications for the R&D market, we have a direct sales model with Sorama branded products and services. And we have business models based on product as a service and software as a service. So much more recurring business model, while the upper one with Fluke are more box sales. And also the fixed installed acoustic cameras to the smart city market. We are doing that with partnership models, so also OEM. But apart from that, also our own branding and the product as a service and software as a service models into that space. Well, finally, to kind of support the activities into those 3 different product market combinations, like I mentioned in the introduction, Sorama is split up over 3 different teams. The listener team is responsible for the products that are fixed installed, so the small boxes. The handheld team works with Fluke and with our internal portal team. And the portal team is basically our core long-running business unit selling the acoustic design services and acoustic cameras. What happens at this moment, since we're typically those type of cells should be about 25 to 35 people in size. So we're still in the process of growing those. But at some point, we will probably have to split up these cells as well into new product market combination teams where they are fit. Finally, we are a networking and a partnership company. So a lot of the production is outsourced, or all of our production is outsourced. But also a large part of our sales and marketing is outsourced, so to speak, via our partners. This is what I wanted to share with you. If you have any questions, I think that's at the end of this session. And also you can contact me through these paths. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Rick. Great to see what has happened, so to say, in the past 12.5 years. Very cool. And yeah, right at the start, you already mentioned, well, sound is always in everywhere. Well, I wasn't personally aware that, well, so many people are, how do you say, injured by sound on a daily basis. But okay, it's impressive. Also to see what you've done in the past 12 years. Yeah. And what about the business models? I can see you have 3 different business models. That's quite impressive. And also with the product market combinations. Perhaps later on at the end, as we have a quite tight schedule, you can tell us a bit more about that, how it develops, so to say. Thanks.
Yep, you're welcome. Thank you.
Welcome, thank you. Talk to you later. Mr. Emil Asselbergs, yes, are you ready to show us a few of your slides? Tell us more about your personal background and your experiences.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Very nice.
I don't have slides since I'm not involved with Phenom World anymore, but I can certainly spend 10 minutes with you. It's a real pleasure to share what I learned, basically. So as you already mentioned, Tom, electron microscopy exists in Eindhoven since about 1942. Philips started that. In about 1997, that became FEI company, and in 2016, this became Thermo Fisher. Electron microscopes, where the market share, where Philips was and FEI was successful, was the high end. High-end systems, complex systems, expensive systems. These days, think about 0.2 to about 7 million euros per system. They can fill either half a room or a complete room or 2 rooms. So that's how you have to look at this. In 2001, FEI was looking at their markets, and at that time they were expecting that there was no growth in that high end of the market, which at present we know it was a completely wrong assumption, but we can talk about it at a later stage. So they thought, well, we should not lose contact with the base of the market. So we have to make a very simple electron microscope that can be sold to schools, universities, companies for quality control. So let's start all over again, and let's start at the bottom. Now they were looking around. How do we do this? And I said, well, if FEI does this with the FEI design and engineering group, we will never make a simple low-cost microscope, because we only can think high cost, high quality, high cost. And at that time, ASML had already started to ask their supply industry to step up, to not only make parts and assemblies, but also start designing. And this was picked up by the BOM, Brabantse Ontwikkelingsmaatschappij. And together with the BOM, a group was formed between FEI, Siux, I guess we all know Siux in Eindhoven, a company Benchmark, and the NTS group, to basically build and design the so-called Phenom tabletop microscope. Now, this was based on an invention of, again, you always come back to the same source. This was invented originally at the Philips Nut Lab, which still existed at that time. And FEI, Siux, NTS, Benchmark took that invention, and with a small team of architects from FEI, the engineers from the partners have actually designed this Phenom tabletop microscope. Think about a tabletop computer in size, so completely different from what people were expecting when you talk about electron microscopy. Now, this not only was a technical exercise. Phenom immediately became a so-called head and tail company, like Rick just said. So the Phenom business concentrated on the applications, the marketing, the sales, and the customer support, logistics, purchasing, manufacturing, assembly, final control was all outsourced. So in essence, this was a very simple to run company based on great technology from Philips. Now, this was almost immediately completely unsuccessful. Now we can learn, of course. Now we know this. Why was it unsuccessful? The business lost about $1 million per month. So that was on a low-end business. That's terrible, really. Too much overhead. This was all organized by an American publicly traded company. So you get a lot of rules and a lot of reporting, a lot of meetings before you can make a decision. The system, as any sort of high-tech product, had teething problems, many teething problems. It had a completely wrong business model. They were expecting to sell them at an incredibly low price and then earn money on service. Now, if somebody buys a product that is not expensive, let's say that is cheap, why would they want to pay for service? It was completely wrong business model. And also the sales model didn't fit at all, because high-end people want to sell high-end equipment, and they don't want to run around selling low-end equipment. So basically, apart from the concept, everything was wrong. So FEI decided the crisis started, so 2008, 2009. FEI decided to basically stop the business, but NTS and Siux decided they did not want to stop, so they bought the business. They almost got it for free, and then we got the chance to have another go at it. So what did we do? We changed the business model. We completely changed the sales model. We started earning money. And we were able, fortunately, with our new shareholders, to reinvest that money in good people and good projects, as we call it. So our business model became incredibly simple. We said we are not doing a lot of projects and a lot of overhead. No, we look at where our bottlenecks are. The system is not reliable. The system is too expensive. The sales model is wrong. And our customers should basically, the next time they call us, it's to buy a new Phenom, and not because they have problems. And as I said, we were selling the system as a microscope, not an electron microscope, which didn't resonate at all with the customers, because it was an electron microscope. But for that, we had to do one more development exercise. So the first thing we did is we asked the shareholders for another €1 million to basically finish the product. And that's what we did. And then that's when we started earning money, which, as I said, we were able to reinvest in building a very good group of people, very enthusiastic people, no overhead, and doing the right projects. And that's so basically we sort of pulled ourselves out of the swamp by building the business and taking decisions every day. And if they were wrong, we took another decision, we corrected for that. And then basically by being busy with the system and not doing stupid things like spending too much money on buildings and lease cars and stuff like that, and meetings, we basically made the company successful. It was so successful that we were sort of eating FEI's market from the bottom upwards. So when Thermo Fisher saw this, they decided to buy the company, to buy the business back. So that's why now Phenom is again part of Thermo Fisher. And that's in a few words the history of Phenom World. In less than 10 minutes, as I see.
Thanks, Emil.
Yeah.
Great to hear. Great to hear about, well, the story indeed within 10 minutes. One of the first things you mentioned was the request, the question towards you was to make a small and more simple microscope at low cost. Then the first thought that crossed my mind was, well, where do you save money? Is it in specifications, or is it in materials, the quality or service? And also, who decides this? Can you make a quick?
Yeah. So in high-end, there's a lot of high-end is really high-end. So very intelligent people start talking about a system and say, well, what if a customer wants this? What if a customer wants that? So they keep adding features and adding parts. Okay. And then you said, what is the basis? And anything you put in a system can fail. So let's leave out a lot of stuff. So there's no vacuum measurement equipment at all in the system. We just teach the system how it works. And we don't measure anything. Okay. So it's not there. It can't break, and it doesn't cost money. And that was our approach. And then you think, why doesn't everybody do this? But people in companies and in organizations just don't think in a different way than they think. And that's the basis of the Phenom. The people who designed this were a brilliant group of people. I wasn't part of it, so I can say this. They were really brilliant in basically cutting everything out of the system that's really not needed in a basic system.
Okay, so keep it simple.
Very simple, yeah.
Okay, don't add any things you would like to see, but you will never use.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but still go then for quality materials and also service, I assume, or?
No, not even service. We at some point we made a statement: Phenom always works, because a high-end electron microscope never works. We all know that. We all accept that. But we said Phenom always works, and everybody started laughing. But after a couple of years, this started working. You know, it's just a vision.
The market indeed saw that it is always working. There is no overhead, not too many specifications. just a simple product, but it runs, it does a job.
And also we applied this to our organization because electron microscopy customers always want specials. Now that sort of stops progress in production. It costs a lot of money. So we said we don't do that. If you want a special, go to FEI. So FEI got all these difficult customers, and we only built a couple of versions of our system, and that was it. Very simple.
Yeah.
We were happy to lose certain deals.
Yes. Okay. Well, thank you, Emil. Please stay with us for the next 30 minutes. So maybe other people can also ask you a question afterwards. But right now, I'd like to give the floor to Hans Meeske. I'll unshare my screen so you can come online, Hans. Welcome.
Yet?
I can hear you now.
Can you hear me? And
yes, loud and clear.
Do we have it full screen now?
Not yet full screen. On the bottom right, indeed, you can.
Yes. Yes.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thanks for that. Yes, my name is Hans Meeske, and after 15 years of Philips, I started with Holland Innovative, literally from the attic room in my own, and now having a company with 55 people. And on that journey as entrepreneur, I learned a lot about ecosystems and ecosystem development, like Blue Innovation, like the startup center at HighTech Plaza, at the HighTech campus, but also drinks and demos. And as Holland Innovative is a company in product development, we also set up some startups like Flora Fluids and Magnet, and currently also HI Sports, which actually is a project, but we got the possibility to make a product from a data science product in the Johan Cruyff Arena to make a complete measurement system and sell it to the market currently to the KVB and launch it in the next months to the Premier League of the Netherlands. Yeah, Holland Innovative, as already introduced by you, Tom, focusing on project management and product development, especially so data science and fact-based product development and reliability in making products with a predictable lifetime. And as you can see also in this picture, of course you do that together, and that's also typically the Brainport way of working. We know each other, we know the networks, and together we can achieve big results. What I'd like to tell today is about business development by social innovation, and especially then 5 topics: ecosystems, ecosystem design, leadership and behavior. I like to also to touch the topic COVID, challenge-based innovation, and last but not least, transitions. And then talking about ecosystems. Everybody is living in an ecosystem. HighTech NL is an ecosystem. We all are here together in this webinar, also as an ecosystem. But I think there are always opportunities to extend in ecosystems and also try to develop a new ecosystem. Because of the opportunity 5 years ago on the HighTech campus, developing startup but not having a place for startups, I took the initiative to, together with the ecosystem, to develop the startup ecosystem. Also brought them to the Hannover Messe. And yeah, last year, because the Brainport region is typically a strong region in system engineering, but the threshold in system engineering, also in the knowledge and the cooperation with universities, there's an opportunity. Also, that's now becoming again a platform, a kind of ecosystem where we all connect each other. And I think everybody has the opportunity to step in and extend your ecosystem and also build new ones in that ecosystem. And in that way, open innovation, for me, it's meeting, sharing, and connecting. And what's good to share is also Professor Volberda from Erasmus University in the past and currently Amsterdam University did a study and found that innovations are successfully only 23% by technical innovation, but 77% by social innovation. And that's utmost important to develop yourself and your team in accelerating in innovation. And then coming to leadership and behavior. I've taken 7 points. I took 7 points out, and I want to address a few, which, in my opinion, are very important to be successfully in business. And the first is stepping out of your comfort zone, and for you and your team, and in that way offering your professionals a possibility to develop the talent. And of course, you need to give them trust. But giving a project manager or a specialist opportunity to present on stage somewhere to develop his or her skills, that will absolutely help a lot in developing her skills and also the network. Unselfishly, I think a lot of people, I think you need to follow your passion and your energy, and not the money. And of course, you need to earn your money in your work, but doing other things, which gives you energy, is utmost important. And I think also as a community, we need that. And that can be in business, but it also can be out of business. Help the poor people or the people without a network who need support. Diversity. When you looked at social innovation, it's typically women are much more sensitive for social innovation and for the aspects which are important. And especially also as men, I want to address and also ask you, everybody, have attention for diversity, not only between men and women, but also between culture and cultural differences, because I believe that your team will become better and be enriched. And last but not least, also balance in private and work. More than 50% of your time you are at work, but the balance between private and work is utmost important, especially nowadays in COVID time. And I think what you learn at your work should be also be effective for your private life. And one of the stories of your employees is that he feels stressed in his work, but supporting him in a kind of training and breathing techniques, a kind of yoga, he also found out that he wants to be another father for his children. And that's so important, that you can enrich and support people to have a better life. And that's also what's giving me energy and passion to support our team to have that better life. Then talking about COVID, and I recently we discussed it in our team, and I like also to share this with you. Of course, COVID gives us all a step in digitization, in hybrid working, and also there we have a challenge in the balance between home and work. I don't know exactly how it will look like for the future, but I surely believe that we need to do that things differently. Should we work at home and be work the place where we have social activities, or is it work also a place where we are going to work? I don't know how we will do that for the future, but I surely believe that there's a change. And I so surely believe that in this kind of transition, that we need to have a power to adapt. I like to address also the point of absenteeism. What's recently also coming out, and we'll show that on one of the next page. And what we also learned from COVID is that innovation is the key to success, especially the HighTech and the innovative partners in the Netherlands have grown economically, where the rest of the markets are in difficulties. And I think we have shown that innovation is a key to innovate and to survive. When talking about absenteeism, there are a few points I'd like to address, and maybe also we can support each other there. What can be done for the future, what we can do better. What's the trend currently is that there's more absenteeism because of psychological problems. What is addressed by overstrain, burnout, depression. And what we also currently in also last year, that absenteeism is it takes more time to get people back to work, also because of these problems. And there, I see we need to do it better. We need to do it also differently. And there are quite some symptoms, and there's a list. I will not, well, you can read it afterwards, but there are a lot of symptoms where you can have a look at, where you also can what you can discuss with your professionals and your team to be able to prevent. Now, what we're going to do as HI, well, we are there in the process, also open for feedback, but we do field and account management walk instead of sit together, focus on social activities. I just addressed also the Institute Core, which is a typically social trainings company who's supporting us all in that. Looking for early detection and warning. We also share this with our employees. And my question to you is, what are you going to do? And what can we learn together? Maybe a suggestion for a next topic by HighTech NL. And then I'm coming to the latest pages of the presentation. Challenge-based innovation. What I see also is that in projects, we are not learning anymore in school and in trainings, we are learning about the projects. And especially I see that at the student teams, which are accelerating a lot because of these projects, but also at the teenagers. Well, they don't typically learn by a book or in a classroom, but they're learning by projects. And that's also the step what we want to make. We also develop a program for that, the Odyssey program, the Secret of Brainport, where we start with the project and see that we develop our talents by these projects. And then my latest slide is about transitions in the 19s, in the 1900 area. My grandma was from the Skipper family. It was the poorest families in the Netherlands. They were not wanted in society because they were poor. They didn't have money for an engine. They didn't have even money for buying a horse. They were themselves the horse. This was a big transition. Nowadays we are at a transition of COVID. We're learning about digitization. We're learning also that by adapting, the nature is becoming alive again. And my biggest worry is, what are we going to do with this transition? Are we going back to the old normal, or do we really want to adapt the climate and start together projects and have a better life together? I think it's important to recognize this kind of transitions. And the question is, what are we going to do with it? And then coming to my latest slide is what have the takeaways. I think we have the opportunity to just do it. We need to have the power to adapt. And the successful attack of the weather change in Limburg by adapting the rivers to prevent a bigger disaster is a quite good example what has been done. But I think there needs to be done more. And of course, we need to do that all together and having fun. Based on our energy and passion, we can achieve those results. So thank you for that, and looking for your feedback.
Thanks, Hans. Thank you very much for sharing your presentation and your look on business development within the semicon business. Well, all of these three stories, well, they remind me of our previous topics, which we spoke about on these webinars. We then spoke more about, well, let's say technical challenges and products or process development. And of course, those are very important. But to stay in the lead, to win a global lead, well, we must not forget that brilliant products also need brilliant marketing, brilliant sales, and don't forget the social aspect, like Hans just showed us. I think that indeed that combination can lead into a successful concept and thus a successful business. Oh, so thanks again. I'm looking at time. I can see we have still like 15 or 20 minutes left to ask questions and discuss with Rick, Emil, and Hans the business development. Is there somebody that would like to raise his digital hand and unmute the mic to enter the room?
Yeah, so I think from my side, Tim here.
Hi, Tim. Welcome.
Hi, we have a lot of guests online, and that's really good. I think many people were attracted by the business development. We heard interesting speakers, but I think it's now also time to zoom in on the lessons learned on the business development itself. So my generic question, I think, first of all, to all three speakers is, in all your struggles to try to sell products or to market your products, what were for you the real eye-openers? And what did you do differently at some point that made a big difference for you?
Rick, Hans, Emil, I want to react on that. What I see is that our customers see the importance of having a big network, and they frequently are making use of it and contacting us in possibilities, not always directly to our own business. But when they just have a question, in 1 or 2 steps, we can give them an answer. And that they like a lot. And I think it's awareness also for myself that they understand that having that network, and well, of course I do it because of a passion for it, but is an advantage for our customers.
Okay. So the network is important, the people
Exactly.
around.
Yeah.
And I hear one other thing that I recognize, that's the fast responses. If you, for example, in our company, it used to be also many engineers. A customer asked a question, and sometimes the engineers did a lot of brainstorming, a lot of detailed work, and it took 3 or 4 weeks to come back with a very, very thorough answer. And the answer was great, but the customer already decided for somebody else. So I think fast responses in general, we're really trying to teach everybody here, and we are doing that now. Always keep communicating, like you already mentioned, the social aspects. Respond quickly, say what you are doing, and even if you have to take some more time to get back to a customer, keep them informed of what you're doing and what the process is. So I think I also heard you say that aspect, right? The fast responses.
Absolutely.
And Rick, what were your eye-openers when you were promoting your product during the journey of your company?
Yeah, eye-openers for me were, on the one hand, being flexible in developing your business model. On the one hand, in our core market for noise control, we still hold firm to the starting vision that we had, with also the same business model. That sometimes you have to stick to something and go for the long run, while at the same time with almost the same type of technology. We spread the technology-based, the acoustic camera, out into different markets. We also learned to be very flexible in what could also be a successful business model. So, for example, in working with Fluke into the industrial space, we kind of knew our position in that we weren't capable of or would need to invest a lot into getting into the industrial maintenance space. So we invested in accepting a different business model and finding a partner that already has that channel to that specific market. So we specifically chose not to step into it and get in the way of parties like Fluke, but really invest in finding the right partner and a totally different business model there.
Yeah.
And so that flexibility is, I would say, try to. It's not that we found that fit directly, so we tested quite a lot, but also, towards different markets, you can, for 85% or 90%, put the same technology or the same product in it with a slightly different positioning and branding, and also accept a different business model if it fits that market or that customer base better.
Okay. I already mentioned you really have a focus on use partners to outsource things like sales and marketing and production. So don't do it alone. I think that's also something quite important, the choice you made.
Yeah, so but there's also a big difference there, because for the noise control market, which is a bit more of a niche compared to the industrial maintenance and inspection market, we find it more appropriate and also feasible to be the Surama brand towards that market and really support that fully. While in the industrial space, yeah, we kind of know our place, and it's not our brand that's out there, but we do provide our strengths to our partner.
Yes. Okay. Thanks, Rick. Anybody else that would like to state a question towards one of the three? Emil?
Now, maybe I can add a little bit to it, to the sales aspects. It's what we learned is people buy people first and everything else second. That's true. So it's a relation business. So our sales meetings were famous. We were told a lot better than FEI in those days, because it's all about people. And it doesn't mean that's always nice, because it's a tough business. If you end second in sales, you end up with nothing. So we switched from agents to distributors. And the distributors, we said, okay, so you want to sell our product? Yes, we want to sell your product. Okay, so then we said, prove that you mean business. Buy a Phenom from us and start demoing that to your customers. So it always started with them buying, not borrowing or getting for free. They bought a Phenom from us.
Okay.
And that's showing commitment. And
Yeah.
then we've several times that we basically started the meetings, especially in the USA. Orders are always coming in by the end of the year, but they never come. So sometimes at a meeting we said after 5 minutes, it's not good enough. Come back to us in 2 hours and tell a true story. Tell what you really are doing. Tell what you really need. As an example, we grew the business from about 10 systems per year in China to 200 systems per year in China. By being on the phone with our Chinese distributor 5 times a day, including Saturdays and Sundays. And that's how you sell.
Okay. Yeah. Be persistent.
Yeah.
Keep going, so to say.
Never.
Yeah.
Yeah, persistent.
Yeah.
Also being agile and adapt. And because I'm so curious, humble also from the participants, how much did your company grow in the COVID time? And I think only by being agile and adapt, I think all those companies who did have grown by 10 or 20%. And I think that's important just to be aware of. Humble and transition is a chance to make steps.
Yeah. Never waste a good crisis.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. But looking at a product, of course, a product needs technology. But if you have to make a choice like Rick or Emil, the best technology of your product, or a great sales and marketing team, or just lots of money so you can keep doing it for a long time, what would be important? Technology, sales, or money?
I should say our people.
People.
Well, I also change it sometimes, and of course we're earning our money by selling projects. But in principle, we are a talent development company. So we invest everything in our talent. And by doing that, we can develop our customer and delivering the projects.
Okay, so invest in your team.
Invest as much. That's my answer. Yeah.
Okay. Rick, can you copy this so that people are?
Yeah, it's definitely the team, the people, and for us, it's we are very much technology heavy. And most of my team is also Bachelor Science Plus level, like 90%. we are building the sales and marketing team further, but I would say that our greatest strength is to bridge the gap between academic research and applicability in industry. And that's a combination of building the IP, but the IP is being built by very talented people. Building teams.
There's a question, Tom, from Jan.
Jan, thank you.
Yes,
thank you,
hello.
Jan, welcome.
First of all, thank you for the presentations, all of you. My question is, I hear the remark, it's all about people, which I firmly agree. But how important nowadays is the digital marketing and the digital customer journey for your for your companies? Do you really use it already, or is it just part of the business? Could you comment on this?
Yeah, we changed directly from start of COVID because we also beside doing projects, we have an academy. Mm-hmm. So we changed directly also in going completely digitally. Mm-hmm. And I still believe that we need to invest even more. So we adapted to digitization, but I'm not satisfied yet. In my opinion, we need to invest even more in digitization to become much more flexible in adapting to all this kind of new stuff like Miro and being very agile in applying this kind of methodology.
Okay.
Yes.
Do you also find new customers via the digital customer journey, or?
No, yeah, we got new customers also because of this COVID time. Because as typical as Dutch, we are, I think, a little bit more business minded and adaptable than, for example, in Germany. So we got quite some new customers in Germany because their supplier just cancelled the trainings, etc. And we were asked for to fill it in.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Hans, I guess you do miss traveling and meeting customers for the past year and a half?
Yes, I traveled almost nothing. So we all worked from home. But we adapt in that way that we're doing things completely online, but also hybrid and also in 1.5 meter classroom. Maybe a funny thing is just before COVID, we had the request to do a training for a big OEM in Australia. But because of COVID, this was of course cancelled, and we just did it completely online and having in the training customers from India until Australia and New Zealand on just by Teams, and everything went very, very well. So I think we learned that traveling is not needed anymore for this kind of things.
Okay, you can use Microsoft Teams like we are doing now.
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else that would like to send out a question?
Now I can comment still on the previous question if you like.
Sure, please.
Our core product, our Sarama portal is designed and built fully into the cloud. So you connect your acoustic camera to a cloud service. At the start, like 10 years ago, when we first launched alpha versions of that platform, we had a lot of response by especially larger corporations that they were not willing to get on our cloud service because of safety and all other things. And what we have seen, especially ramping up during COVID, is that it's much more accepted to provide cloud services. And of course, focus is a lot on security there, but that's something we have invested in already throughout our short lifetime as a company. And that's something we really see is changing rapidly at this moment. And we had some big corporations that first just didn't want to buy our service. And that's one of the things where we stood firm. And we said, well, if you're not willing to use our cloud platform, then we won't sell. It's as simple as that, because we won't vary our product focus there. And at this moment, we're seeing those big corporations trying us on the security especially, but now taking those services. So we really see that trend. SMEs were already willing to get on those services, but now also Google and ASML and those kind of companies start using our cloud services.
Okay, so that's on top of the product. They buy the product, and they also.
Yeah, so I mean it's a combination. So you for a relatively low price, they buy the hardware, and it's an enabler for our cloud service. So we have a flexible service model there for continuously using those tools. And the more tools you use, the more pay-per-use income we have.
Yes. Okay. A big benefit, I can tell. Emil, I do have a quick question for you. When you were developing your new microscope, did you see any actions from your competition? Did they respond as you, well, came with a more simple product? Did you see any response in the market?
So we were not the first, actually. But they were never. So what they did, that's a nice one. They basically shrank their existing systems. So they were really as clumsy as the big systems, only smaller. They never sort of, and that's all going back to our history with Philips. The technology was never copied. The Koreans came later, and they tried, but they mainly focused on the same design. We had the outside design by Van Berlo, looked very different from everybody else, and the Koreans actually started copying that aspect of the system. So,
okay.
but never anything that came near. Nothing. No.
No, there was a response, but it wasn't a threat to you.
Not at all. No.
No. Okay. Okay. I was just curious.
That's
what happened
here. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Emil.
You're welcome.
I'm looking at the clock. We've just passed 5 o'clock. Is there somebody that would like to add something or ask Hans or Rick? If you have any question or remark left, please take the floor.
No, maybe to add in this kind of discussion about digitization, I think maybe it's also an opportunity for Rick. Because of the digitization, I was looking for possibilities to extend also in capabilities, and found at Mind Labs at Tilburg University as a kind of laboratory for AR and VR. And I think for all of the participants, I think this is an opportunity to investigate, because they're doing very nice projects where from high school until university, and executing projects for industry. And I think Rick, also your sensors and your sound systems can maybe perfectly fit also in the AR/VR community.
Okay.
Mind Labs from University Tilburg.
Mind Labs in Tilburg. I'll make a note.
Yeah, 1 hour is quite short to cover all the aspects of business development, of course, and we knew that up front. I think there are many more interesting things, like, for example, how do you do business development with small, medium enterprise companies versus how do you do it with multinationals? Completely different approach. It's in both cases both about the people, but the way you do it with multinationals, it's much more complex process with making a decision matrices and etc. So I think it would be nice if all the participants could make it known to Tom whether there's interest for a follow-up. I don't know, Tom, if you
absolutely,
if you can gather some inputs to go more in depth on one of these specific business development topics, right?
Yeah. No, right on. Thank you, Tim. Indeed, we do this for us, for the community. So if anybody has, well, let's say a request for a next webinar, of course, I'm more than happy to take to receive those questions and requests. And indeed, well, maybe we should spend another hour in a next topic special webinar to look into things. Of course, as you mentioned, Tim, it's impossible to cover all within an hour. So sure. Well, for now, I'd like to thank Rick, Emil, and Hans. I made 3 notes. I think well, at least for me, it's 3 key takeaways. I learned from Rick, well, focus and use partners to outsource certain things from your company. And Emil, well, make choices in the specifications. Make it simple, so to say. And Hans, well, you learn me or us, have a focus on the social part of work. Focus on your employees, invest in your people. Yeah, make them happy, make them smarter, so to say. In the end, that investment will pay off. Well, thanks again. We like to keep you informed via this platform. So we have scheduled a new topic special for early next year. Let's say end of January. If there's a certain topic, if there's a certain request, well, please drop me an email and we will look into it to make it a healthy discussion and exchange point of views on the topic you like to see. The recording of today will be made available in the next few days, so you can look back. And we will share the list of attendees as well, so you can get in touch with somebody else. If there's a final remark for somebody, well, thank you. And otherwise, thank you for being here for the last hour. Looking forward to see you again. Have a nice evening. Thank you all. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Thank you too.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.